You're listening to a complete recording of a candidate forum hosted by the Astoria branch of the American Association of University Women on May 1st. The forum featured candidates running for contested seats on the Warrenton School District Board in Oregon's May 20th special district election. The school district and the current board have come under fire in recent months following the dismissal of Mindy Little, the principal for Warrior Academy, Warrenton School District's alternative school. Little was dismissed following investigations into alleged misconduct. She has denied the allegations. Soon after Little's departure, the school district superintendent, Tom Rogozinski, also stepped down. Now, a staggering 15 people are running for seats on the Warrenton School District Board. Only 8 attended the forum, however. Many of the candidates have said they want to strengthen relationships between the district and the board and have raised concerns about trust and accountability. The questions candidates answered at the forum on May 1st were developed by the AAUW and submitted by people in the audience. KMUN is presenting the forum as is, without any edits to content or additional fact-checking of candidates' responses.
Thank you all for coming. I'm Roz Edelson, the current president of AAUW. Our branch has sponsored candidates forums in the past, and we're very happy to do so again, and really appreciate all of you coming and for the candidates for stepping up. So welcome to you all. I'm glad to have you here. I'd like to thank Warrenton for inviting us. Dion Marshall of the Warrenton Middle School, KMUN for their coverage, and by the end of the day tomorrow, you will be able to hear this on KMUN. It'll be on their news page. We have some questions for the candidates, but we encourage you all to ask questions. So if you'll write your questions on cards, we have folks here to collect them. Just pass them on down, and we will present those questions to the candidates. And at this point, I want to turn this over to Jenny. No, Liz Bartel. Pardon me, to Liz Bartel. Okay.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. My name is Liz Bartel. I'm a member of AAUW and past president of AAUW. Tonight, we will hear from 9 candidates. Gabrielle Parge has withdrawn from the race, and position 7 has only 1 candidate who accepted the invitation to attend the forum. Consequently, the order of the positions will be in numerical order except for group 1, and the candidates will be in alphabetical order. The order of appearance will be Bree Libertad, Crystal Pike, and Adam Murray. In group 2, position 4, Neil Bond, Daisy Divos, and Andy Simonson. And in group 3, position 6, Matthew Ahern, Lindsay Stacer, and Crystal Green. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes for an introductory statement as to why that candidate should be elected. The candidates will answer written questions submitted by you all and organized by AAUW members to eliminate duplication or inapplicability. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question. The timekeeper will inform who's the timekeeper. Okay, thank you. The timekeeper will inform the candidate when 15 seconds are left. And then when their time is finished, the candidate must stop. This forum is a question and answer process. It is not a debate. Again, as Ross mentioned, if you have a question for a group of candidates and haven't already done so, please write it down on a card and pass it to one of the volunteers holding up her hands. Where are our volunteers? Well,
It's a good question.
that's a good question.
Bring it forward.
Does somebody have something right now? I can come get it, or one of us can. Okay, very good. So let us begin by asking each candidate to spend 2 minutes introducing themselves and stating why they are the candidate of choice. And please do state your name beforehand. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. My name is Bree Liebertodd. I have been a Clatsop County resident my entire life. I lived in Warrenton my first 5 years of life and ended up graduating from Astoria High School, but I moved back to Warrenton 4 years ago with my family. I'm a mom of 3, a 16, 13, and 4-year-old, and my 4-year-old will be entering kindergarten in the fall, and that's what prompted me to run for the school board. I am aware that there are a lot of families who have opted not to send their children to Warrenton schools, although they live in the district, and that's concerning to me because I believe in public school, I believe in public education, and I think that it requires a lot of investment on the part of families and community members to be successful. So I want to be part of that change. I'm also an educator. I graduated from University of Oregon in 2010 with my master's in special education. So I have devoted the past 15 years to working in early childhood and elementary education here on the coast. Right now my focus is on prenatal families and up to 3-year-olds, and my 4-year-old currently attends Warrenton Prep, and I do believe that from birth or even pregnancy on, we really need to be providing supports for families to help them have later success in schools. So definitely starting in preschool, but even before, ideally. And I guess that's all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Crystal Pike, and I have been a Warrenton resident and community member since I was 6 years old, and I graduated from Warrenton High School in 1999. I later went on to college. I started out my collegiate career as, on a sports scholarship, and I wanted to pursue education in some form. However, as I moved through that path, education turned into wanting to work with a smaller group of kids, which led me to psychology, minoring in social sciences. I did not get that degree, however, a door had closed, so others opened, but my long-term goal was to be a high school counselor. Since that did not work out as I had planned, I decided to move home and go to beauty school, which was also the second biggest thing on my list of things to do. So I did that, I finished, and I have been in the beauty industry for almost 20 years, and in the last 14 years, I've owned my own salon here in Hammond, Oregon, and have been running my business. I married my husband, who also graduated from Warrenton High School, and we are now raising our 2 children. My daughter is 17, and my youngest daughter is 13, and they both attend Warrenton. My roots for Warrior Pride are very strong, and it makes my heart full to see that my children are also carrying that Warrior Pride with them. I also have a lot of close family and friends that work in the school district here that make my heart full as well, so that I know that they have great role models and supporters. So my goal is to help by bridging the gap between the board and the staff and teachers to make sure that our communication is consistent. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Adam Murray. I am currently running for position 7. I am a long-term Clatsop County member. I grew up and was born and raised in Astoria, Oregon. Married my wife, met her in high school, and we have 3 kids. They're here in the audience tonight. My oldest will be 12, my daughter just turned 10, and my youngest is turning 7 in a couple weeks. So I felt it not only like a want, but kind of like an obligation to, volunteer my time on the board. I give a lot of time to the community. I coach multiple sporting activities. I'm on the Warrenton Kids Board currently, and I served as a vice president for Lower Columbia Youth Soccer Association. So I'm heavily involved with our youth, and just seeing the division and the gap that's been created, especially within the last year, just felt the need and the requirement to kind of step in and see if I could help. So that's why I'm running for the board. I felt it was just a good time. You know, I've devoted myself to other areas, so that's not time to devote myself to this. So I appreciate everyone being here tonight. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with our questions now. And Adam, why don't we start with you?
Okie dokie, start it off.
What are the primary responsibilities of the Warrenton School Board? Will you read and know the policies that guide the school district?
I do this, right? And so my main goal coming in is to learn the process, right? I would like to educate myself on the policies and the procedures. I'd like to be a voice of reasoning between the staff, the administration, and the teachers, and the students especially. That's why we're all here. I want to be able to bridge that gap, kind of enact change within the community, and so we can all kind of come together on it and get rid of this division, the separation, the anxiety, and the stress that's been put on the board recently. So as far as the policies go, that's going to be something I have to learn, along with everyone that's probably here tonight, hopefully. But yeah, that's my main thing is to learn, educate myself, and just be a good voice of reason.
Crystal? Sure. What are the primary responsibilities of the Warrenton School Board? And will you read and know the policies that guide the school district?
So the job of the school board is to work with the employee, which is the superintendent, and make sure that there's a consistent communication, connecting the two to make sure that all policies and procedures are held up and we are making our decisions based solely upon those policies and procedures so that every student is safe, every student is included, and every student is treated equally within those policies. To make sure that we're communicating with each other will help us build our foundations of these students, and making sure that the teachers are also heard and the staff, so that we can make sure that we're making changes appropriately to better our district as best as possible.
I have read all of the policies of the Warrenton School District. I found them fairly encouraging because I think they are mostly comprehensive of a lot of issues that I know are concerns for families in the district, such as non-discrimination policies, and many of them are fairly recent, I think up to 2022. The Oregon State Board Association also outlines recommendations for board members, which I have read, and I think some of the highlights from that are that a board is to function as a collective, not as individuals, and that we come together maybe speaking for minority groups or positions, but ultimately we make decisions as a collective, and then we stand by that to the public. And also, I think it's something that everyone should educate themselves on to have a better understanding of what that command of power looks like from teacher to principal to superintendent to board. Thank you.
Okay, question 2. Crystal, we'll start with you this time. What should you, in your role as a school board member, do to promote improved school attendance among students and teachers?
My thought is to hopefully get staff and administration and teachers, every 4 to 6 weeks as possible to, one or two of us at a time to just kind of, get a thought from the teachers that are actually in the school. They're the ones working with the students that, they see every day, in hopes to find out better ways to promote that attendance, to make sure that we're hearing their voices, because at the end of the day, our teachers are the faces that those kiddos see every day. And I would like to make sure that I'm getting into the school as well and walking around and seeing how those teachers are working with those students in hopes of finding better ways to work together so that we can promote more of that attendance, so the kiddos want to get to school, they want to stay in school, and they're having fun as well as learning everything that they're there to learn.
Thank you, Anne.
Yeah, so I think building your relationship with the staff is the biggest, sitting down and talking to them. Communication is key. You're not going to know anything unless you actually get to see it firsthand. So volunteering my time in the classroom is going to be a big thing for myself coming up in the near future. Making myself available for the staff, administration, and just the board. We have to find unity in our decisions, and the best place to find that is within the school. I mean, the teachers are there firsthand every day, knowing what they're going through. I know the staff says, everything doesn't look as bad as it does on the outside. Inside it is great. And so we just need to be able to turn that around and show our community that it's not it's not within the school. We just have to come together and try to build a better relationship with the board, the administration, and the community.
Regular attendance in the district is at 65% right now, and the Oregon average is 66%, so we're fairly hitting the mark with that, and that was 5% up from the prior school year. However, there are specific groups that are not meeting that same level of attendance, such as students receiving special education, they're at 58%, Hispanic students are at 61%, students experiencing poverty are at 59%, and homeless students are at 63%. So I think that our family liaison staff are critical in improving those numbers. I participated in the resource fair last August that had school supplies, haircuts, food, all kinds of things for families that were signing up for the district the following school year. And I think programming and accessibility for those basic needs to be met are a key part of getting kids to school and ensuring that they stay in district. Thank you.
All right. Question 3. How will you address teaching staff as a board member with a concern from the general public? Let's see, Adam, do you want to start with that one?
Sure. So as a board member addressing staff, I think directly with the first meet as a board, collective group, have a discussion about the situation rather than just kind of coming face to face with the staff member. Utilizing social media is never a great idea. So having a conversation, of course, with the staff member, but we have to be able to, go over the issue that's been presented, and then have a discussion about it, come to an agreement, and then see if we can sit down with the staff member that's been discussed about, and try to come to an equal ground or an understanding of the situation and see how we can resolve it. So, thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. How will you address teaching staff as a board member with a concern from the general public?
I think, like Adam said, as a whole, the school board is a unit, and to be cohesive, we need to come to the best decision as a group to decide on how that would be presented, and then, create a meeting space where everybody's involved and the concern is presented, and collectively work through what is in front of us, how we want to move forward, and the best way to fix the concern and address it through the policy procedure to make sure that, we're very transparent with our community, the concern that was given, and also present how we're going to resolve that to the best that we can within the rules that we have to stand by as a board member, with certain confidentiality and things that are not allowed to be shared.
There are policies that govern how that should look. I know that, as others have alluded to, that that's not necessarily the approach that's, taken in our modern age, where we have social media and ways of communicating with each other that's not in person or by following policy. However, any concerns regarding staff should go through that chain of command from staff to principal to superintendent to the board. And I think, as Crystal mentioned, there are executive sessions where things like staffing concerns can be discussed privately. And in addition to that, there is the ability of the public to attend board meetings and to bring agenda items. So I think that, again, making that information available and clear to parents and community members that have concerns, so that they know what steps to take if they do have a concern, is vital. Thank you.
Okay, question 4. Bree, why don't we start with you this time? If Head Start, free school meals, and other federally funded school-based programs are cut, what funds might be available to make up the difference? And how will you advocate for those services?
I do think we're on a precipice of having to be really creative with funding in our schools. I know that Oregon is one of 25 schools that's refusing to accept the Trump administration's requirement to stop illegal DEI, which has yet to be defined, and I hope we continue to take that stance. And I know, as someone who's working in a program that accepts similar funding, that a lot is at stake. I think that partnering with our community partners that serve children, that serve families who are at risk of homelessness, is, what we're going to have to do is start banding together as a community to make sure that these students and families still have their basic needs met. We have a high population, as I've noted, of homeless families experiencing poverty, and those are the families that are going to be most impacted by these potential cuts to funding.
Alan?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Sure. If Head Start, free school meals, and other federally funded school-based programs are cut, what funds might be available to make up the difference, and will you advocate for these special services?
Yeah, so I'm always going to be an advocate for anyone in need. I feel like as a community growing up here, the need for the growth in the homelessness population, just money does not stretch as far as it used to. We're all seeing that. And so come together using community resources. I know that we have a food bank, there's multiple shelters in the area, just trying to be as transparent as we can with them and gain some knowledge about how they receive funding, how they spend budgetary needs, and going through that, just being open to different opportunities of change, and finding a way to find those funds. It's going to be hard. I know it's a struggle for most families now. Like I said, the blue collar region, which I find myself in, it doesn't go as far as it used to, and so money's tight, and we need to find a way to help those in need, and that's not just a specific population density, but it's just as a community in whole. I'm sorry. Thank you.
And Crystal?
So I'll be honest, I'm not as super familiar with the budget within the school system, but I'm very eager to ask those questions if we start within our own school budget to see what money is sitting within our district. If there is extra that can be used, if there's any type of, emergency stipend that is there, I would like to check within our own district first, and then from there, I am happy to get out, do the footwork, find the community resources, the people within the community. I know we have a huge village, and when any of our community members are in need, I've seen a large stepping up of our community coming together to make sure that nobody is left behind. And if we need to ask businesses and bigger, corporations for that help, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that we get the funding that we need so that those specialty groups and programs are not depleted.
Adam? What? I
went over, sorry.
We're all done with that one, right? Right. Okay, here's another question. And Crystal, why don't we begin? Okay. What are two critical issues you will address if elected? Why are they so important to you? And what do you believe is the most important responsibility as a school board member?
My number one thought on critical issue is lack of specialty teachers, not having enough reading specialists and counselors and nurses and extra staffing to help those teachers that have a full classroom but yet need a little bit of extra help for those kiddos that, struggle with some reading, struggle with some math, and with the whole, no student left behind. We need those extra resources so that we can take the time to send, the kiddos that are struggling to get that extra help. We need the counselors to support our kids. We need those things to make sure that they thrive in everything that they do, but the lack of staffing is really hard to make that happen. And my second is bridging the gap between the board, like I said before, the board, communicating with the staff to make sure that we can have all the thoughts and the needs that they need so that we can make a change.
One of my priorities would be enhancing and improving our ELA rating. We're at 24% and down 4% from the prior school year, according to our report card from ODE. The Oregon average is 40%, so we're 16% behind on that. And compared to other local schools, Seaside's at 44, Astoria's at 45. As I mentioned, retention is an issue, and I think if we want to convince families to start and stay in the district, we need to have competitive performance, and literacy is the cornerstone of the rest of the learning experience and school experience, as well as SPED services. We are capped at 11% in Oregon right now, and that hasn't been updated since 1991. House Bill 2953 would remove that cap, which would be huge for our district because we have 17% of our students are receiving special education services, and the Oregon average is 15%, so it is imperative that we all advocate for that cap to be rejected so that all schools who have a higher percentage of students with special education can receive sufficient monies to provide for those students.
Can you repeat the question again just one time?
Sure. What are two critical issues you will address if elected? Why are they so important to you? What do you believe is your most important responsibility as a school board member?
Okay. So I'm going to start with the last part of that. So my most important responsibility as a school board member is just transparency. Being able to have someone approach me and communicate, sit down, and work through these issues. I feel like the two most pressing issues is just the lack of support for the staff. I understand that it's difficult. We have a large Latin American community here, so the translation, just having the ability to have a translator in the classrooms is huge. The lack of the ability to receive the support for that is another issue. I know that the specialty needs classrooms need support, along with all other students in our community. Those two things should be addressed primarily, in my opinion, because they are the kids that we are seeing struggle with the attendance. They are the ones that feel like they're left out, and we don't want to leave anyone behind. Thank you.
Okay, this is our last question, and we'll start with Adam. What is your view on the difference between equality and equity for students?
Equality and equity. So equality is every child matters. There should be no diversity in that. There should be a clear line. Every kid matters. They all deserve to have the opportunity for equal education and rights, to have the ability to receive the resources that they need in our schools. And equality, that's a good one, I have no idea, I apologize. Put me on the spot. It's just being able to receive what they need, that having the ability to just be able to attend school and not feel like they're forgotten about. They have the resources there. They are wanted and they know that they're loved. And so as a community, I feel like that is what it means to be a Warrenton member. We need to come together and support everyone in there, be transparent, be clear, and be able to communicate.
Thank you.
I feel like we all know that everybody should be treated equal and treated equally, which that also means given enough resources to make sure that every child has opportunity for those resources. For instance, my youngest daughter has ADHD, and she was given the opportunity to have a 504. And I feel like we need to have enough resources so that every kiddo that has any type of learning disability or anything that's setting them back, they're able to have those 504s, those IEPs, everybody. And there's not like a run out or a feeling of if, my kid is, late to be diagnosed with something, that they're still able to get and receive those resources equally so that they are able to thrive and not feel that they have any reason to not continue forward or feel like they have to give up. And having that means having counselors and the staff to support that as well. So, thank you.
Yeah, I think you've both spoken to the concepts well. I see equality as equal opportunity. We're all getting the same exposure to opportunity. And equity means that we're modifying or adapting what those opportunities are so that they're accessible to everyone. So that includes our special education students, it includes other language learners, English language learners. It includes our homeless students who might not have all the basic things that we do in our homes to get to school on time, like a phone that has a charger that will go off in the morning, let alone the food or the transportation or the clothing to get there. Our non-discrimination policy for the district prohibits discrimination or harassment on any basis protected by law, including actual or perceived race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, national or ethnic origin, marital status, veteran status, familial status, pregnancy age, or mental or physical disability. That's a hefty list, but it's what we have committed to. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our Group 1 candidates. And now, if we could change places, we'll call Neil Bond. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you all for coming out here tonight. Appreciate to see everyone here. My name is Neil Bond, and I'm running for School Position Board number 4. A little bit about myself. We moved to the Warrenton community back in 2011. I have 2 children that have been through the Warrenton program, started at kindergarten, and right now I have a senior, and I have a sophomore as well. So we've been here in Warrenton the entire time through it all. I've spent a lot of time volunteering in the community, coaching sports, and most currently I have been on the school board since 2019, and I have been the board chair since 2023. Something that I'm very proud of and very happy to do that with. So I'm asking for your vote tonight to continue the good work that we've done. And we've done a lot of great things here in Warrenton, and we've got some more things to do. I was part of the process that got the bond passed that, we were able to be here in this nice new facility in the middle school that we have here as well. So a lot of good things have happened, but we still have some more things to do. So with that, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I am Dixie DeVos. I am a 2007 graduate of Warrenton High School. We moved here when I was 10, so I have been in Warrenton from 4th grade until I graduated. I have 3 children, all in Warrenton School District, a 1st grader, 5th grader, and a 8th grader. I am running for the school board because I care deeply about our children, our schools, and the kind of future that we're building together. I'm a parent of both neurodivergent and neurotypical children, and I'm very involved in their education. I volunteer, I show up, I ask questions, and I stay engaged because I believe our schools work best when families, educators, and the community are all in it together. I've seen amazing things that can happen when a student is truly supported, and I've also seen where the system needs to do better. That's why I'm running, to help make sure every student, no matter their background or learning style, has the chance to thrive. I believe in inclusion, in transparency, and in making sure students feel safe, respected, and seen, not just as test scores, but as whole people. If you vote for me, you're voting for someone who shows up, who listens, and genuinely cares. I'm not doing this for just a title. I'm doing it because I love this community and I want to be a part of making our schools stronger for all of our children. Thank you so much, and I'd be honored to have your support.
Okay, question 1. Neil, why don't you start? What are 2 critical issues you will concentrate on if elected? And why are they so important to you?
Thank you for that. Yeah, 2 critical issues for me that we have right now and that I will focus on. I'll start off with 1, stability. I'm going to be perfectly honest with folks. I'm sure people have read in the newspaper and seen on social media. There's the last year and a half has been, I'll call it a little spicy on the school board. We've had a lot going on. We have great administrators. We have great teachers. We have what we need in there. What they need is they need some stability and they need some support. So one of my first priorities with that would be to ensure that we have the resources that are needed for the superintendent, for the principals, and for the teachers. I want to make sure that the teachers and the principals feel supported by not only the board but also by the superintendent. As a board member, I want to make sure the superintendent has the tools he needs to give those things to those teachers. So, that is of critical importance for me. Thank you.
2 of my big concerns that I would like to work on is transparency and helping more with the special needs department. Right now, we have, seen things on Facebook, and that has been a problem for me, is seeing that on Facebook rather than the school district coming forward first to alleviate the stress on the parents. It's kind of a stressor to see that, on Facebook rather than from our schools. Also, I do know that the special needs department is in desperate need of help. As one of the other candidates had mentioned, the 11% cap is a huge stressor, and again, as a parent of neurodivergent children, I really feel like that department needs a lot of help right now. Thank you.
All right. Question number 2. And Daisy, why don't you go ahead and do this one, or start this one. What are your budget priorities? And do you know if the current budget, has to face cuts?
As someone who actually has been to most of the last year's worth of school board meetings, I actually do know that our school is having issues with the budget. I do know a lot of it is because of budget cuts from the state. They're just not providing enough money and funding for the schools. Again, a lot of that has to do with that 11% cap, having 17% of our district that are special needs. There's 6% of that budget that has to come from somewhere else. So getting extra funding from the state, going to our legislator and pushing for them to give schools more funding is very important, and I would push very hard at the state level to help get more funding for our schools so that the budget can reflect what is needed in our school.
Can you repeat the question for me? Sure. What are your budget priorities? Do you know if the current budget has to face cuts?
Okay, thank you for that. So one, I have to give a shout out to our business manager, Mike Mohawk. He has done a phenomenal job over the last several years so that we're able to weather these type of storms. Yes, we are, currently we are not being funded where we need to be funded. But thanks to the good business practices from the district office, we are not having to take cuts or do a reduction in force currently, which is great news for everybody there. Again, this is projected to continue into the future, and we are looking at, we have a 5-year plan with that budgeting right there as well. So, some of my biggest budget priorities is to make sure that we, fund the education that we need first. And we got to make sure that all students have the ability, to graduate and get the credits that they need to move on to whatever they do after high school. So, thank you.
Okay, question number 3, Neil, why don't we start with this one? What is the school board's role in monitoring the negative effects of bullying?
The school board's role in monitoring the negative effects of bullying is going to come down to our policies and procedures. They're there in place. A lot of those policies and procedures are there in reflection of state law. You may or may not agree with some of those laws, and I welcome folks to go down there and try to change those, but that's where a lot of the policies and procedures are coming. So our job is to make sure that we have a safe, inclusive place for all children to grow, for all children to thrive, and for them to reach the best of their abilities while still maintaining the what we can do legally. There's certain aspects of that we simply cannot go into when it becomes disciplinary action because of privacy issues. So, we take bullying very seriously, and that's why we have policies and procedures in place, and we direct the superintendent to make sure to provide training for the administrators and the teachers so that they know what those policies are and how to react with them when that occurs.
I know that the school board has, or the school district already has very strict anti-bullying policies that are in place. I think as a board member, I would just push to make sure that said policies are being followed. And if there are concerns from parents that are still having these issues with bullying, as a parent of children who have been bullied, bullying is a very, tender spot for me. So I would make sure to voice my concerns with the school district to make sure, that these policies are indeed being followed, making sure that these children feel safe at school, so that they want to continue to come to school rather than staying home. Thank you.
Okay, question number 4, Daisy. How should conflict on the school board be handled?
I think that, as some of the other candidates have mentioned, that the school board needs to act as a collective. There should not be any fighting, arguing, or whatnot, especially where the public can see them. So any of the public board meetings, they definitely, need to be acting as that team. So I think that just having some strict boundaries, making sure that we are acting as the adults that are, providing these supports for our students and our staff, making sure that we're just working as that team and as a collective. Thank you.
Thank you. How should conflicts on the school board be addressed? Well, to me, that's why we have 7 members of the board, right? There's an odd number of people there. Each one of those board members was elected by the community to represent them. I would even say a certain degree of conflict is healthy, too much is not. People are very passionate about certain topics. That's why they got on the school board. That's why they are there. They're trying to make a difference, and they're trying to do what's best for the kids. Ultimately, though, it does come down to a vote. It's fine to have a difference of opinion. It's fine to express your difference of opinion. But when it's all said and done, it does come down to a vote. Again, that's why there's an odd number of people on the board there. And when that occurs, once that's done, then the board as a whole needs to support that decision, even if it's something that you may or may not have agreed with or voted for. Thank you.
Okay. Neil, why don't you start with this question? What are the best ways to retain talented teachers and staff?
Yeah, the best ways to retain talented teachers and staff is to make sure that they feel valued, in my opinion, to make sure that they know that they're supported, to make sure that we end, this negative stuff that's occurring on social media that makes people feel, by a small minority that makes people feel like they're not doing a good job. Both my parents were teachers. I know teaching is one of the hardest jobs that you will ever do. It is extremely challenging to do that job and to do it well. The best way we're going to do that is to do the absolute best we can to make sure that they have the resources they need so that they can do the best job that they can with the students. I mean, these students are our future, right? So we need to provide them with the support that they need so that these students can thrive and grow. Thank you.
I agree that we need to make sure that our teachers and our staff do feel supported. Whether that's, just having some, hey, kudos, you did a great job today. Making sure that our staff knows that they are appreciated. And, going back to Facebook, putting out those, kudos on Facebook for the community to see. Hey, today this teacher took their class out on this field trip and the kids learned, whatever they learned. Giving those kudos on Facebook to the public also will make those teachers feel like they are appreciated and makes the public know that the staff, the admin also, the community knows that the admin appreciates their teachers. Thank you.
We'll start with you this time. This is a question regarding curriculum. The Oregon State Board of Education sets educational policies and standards. Local school districts are responsible for adopting the materials for instruction. Who should be involved in the selection of instructional materials at the local level?
I think that the teachers definitely need to be involved in that. They are the ones teaching that curriculum, so it needs to be something that they feel passionate about, something that they feel that the students will feel passionate about. We don't want our students to be sitting there at school board. We need to have something that's going to get the students actively engaged in their education. And so who better to do that than the teachers? Again, also we need to have the admin have a say, and then the board, of course, because all of these curriculums do cost money, so it does need to go to the board for a vote. But I do feel like the teachers need to have the biggest say. Thank you.
Yeah, so for me, that's something that needs to be done by the administrators, by the principals and vice principals of the school in collaboration with the teachers. The administrators have to look at the big picture, right? They have multiple teachers who've got to teach the same subject. They have multiple teachers, in history and math and English. So they need to make sure that it works for every teacher, and then make sure that it works for the students as well. So I feel that needs to be a very collaborative effort between the principals and the teachers, so that we get something that everybody is happy, and biggest thing, that everybody is excited about teaching. If the teachers are excited about it and they know the limits and know what they can do with that, that means that if the teachers are excited, then the kids are going to be excited. So ultimately, it does come down to the board to adopt that curriculum, but that should be something that's done with the teachers and principals. Thank you.
This is our last question. Neil, why don't we start with this? What will you do to bring advanced placement to the high school?
Thank you very much. That is actually one of the main reasons why I got on the school board to begin with. I think in my opinion, it's the more advanced placement classes that we can bring, the better. That just challenges kids that much more, provides them more opportunities, and it helps get them college credit, which is a fantastic thing as well. Again, we have a limited budget. We can only do so much. We need to make sure we take care of the basic needs first, so that every student has what they need to graduate and move on to whatever it is they're going to do after school, whether that's trade school, whether that's military, going out to the workforce, community college, four-year college, whatever that might be. We need to make sure that that's coming first. But then, we also need to look at providing opportunities for students, whether that's in-person in class, or I know some new curriculum does have some options for students to take that online as well, for them to provide that. So I'm very supportive of that curriculum. Thank you.
This day and age, we have the great availability of doing online classes, so I'm very for doing anything online that we cannot do in person. I would strive to get more options for our children that they have right now. I know back when I was in school, there was the availability for busing to the college for certain classes. I would look into that if it was even a possibility. But we are lucky that we do have online options available, and I think it's great that these kids would have that option if it's not available in person. So if the budget ever did allow for to have more AP classes, I would definitely push to have anything in person too.
Okay, thank you very much to our Group 2 participants.
Well, good evening, and thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you to the AAUW for providing this opportunity. I'm Crystal Green, and I'm the owner of Artie's Cafe. And as a local business owner, I am deeply invested in our students' success. And if elected to the board, my priorities are simple and focused. And it's really to rebuild the trust between the school board, community, and district staff through open and honest communication, and educating the community and having open communication is essential for building trust and transparency, and ensuring that everyone has a voice and an opportunity to express their concerns and ideas. I want to empower educators by supporting both teachers and administrators to do what they do best, and that is to teach and lead, and to ensure that teachers and administrators have proper training, have the opportunities to communicate their needs, and the resources and the tools to provide a creative and thriving learning environment. I want to align policies with student success and ensuring that our schools have the resources, leadership, and support they need to thrive. My family has deep roots in this district. I'm a proud alumnus, as are my children, and I have family members who serve as teachers, administrators, and my grandchild, niece, and nephews all attend school in this district. So the district's success is personal to me. I am committed to work alongside our community to keep strengthening our schools. I am ready to serve and help move our district forward together. And I'm ready to listen and help ensure that our schools reflect the values, priorities, and needs of the families and students that we support. And I would be honored for your vote. Before my time ends, I want to add that this engagement that the election has initiated is exciting. And I hope that after this election, it will continue. And that every one of these worthy candidates, even if not elected, will continue to pour their support and efforts into our district. And I hope that every one of you will too. I know I will. Our kids are worth it and deserve the best.
Hello everyone, my name is Lindsay Caesar. Unlike most of everyone else, I did not grow up here. I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, where I attended very large public schools. I earned my cosmetology and barber licenses, and I spent over a decade working in the city perfecting my craft. Beyond cutting hair, my work has taught me how to listen, communicate, earn trust, and build lasting relationships. In 2017, I moved to Warrenton to be closer to my mother, who returned to her hometown of Astoria to care for my grandmother. I also wanted to raise my two sons in a smaller community with much smaller schools than what I attended. Since then, I have worked as a barber in Astoria, and my chair has become more than a place for haircuts. It's been a space for conversation, listening, and understanding what matters most to the people who live here. Those conversations and my own experiences as a parent are what led me to run for school board. Within my own children's education at Warrenton, I've seen the instabilities in the classroom, the pain of watching my son experience bullying based on his skin color without meaningful support, and the frustration of feeling dismissed when trying to advocate for him. After exhausting every avenue and following all the district's policies without real change, it was actually my son's request that we made the difficult decision to withdraw both of our children temporarily from the district until we could see a bit of a change. But I didn't want to walk away. I didn't want to give up. I wanted to help. I even offered to help, so I'm choosing to get involved now. I am not running for a school board position to push a personal agenda. I am running to bring a parent's perspective to be a part of the solution to help create transparency, accountability, consistency, and trust within our schools. I know what it's like to navigate the challenges, and I believe that perspective, rooted in my real lived experience, can help shape a more inclusive, responsive, and supportive school environment. Thank you.
All right, good evening. My name is Matt Ahern. I want to thank you all for being here tonight to ask questions and hear what we have to say. I appreciate our hosts as well. I have lived here in the area for about 5 years, and because of that, my son, who is in third grade, has been started in kindergarten here and has been working his way up through the grade school. I am excited to be here and answer some questions here this evening. You might recognize me a little bit, or be like, man, I know that face somewhere. I work over at Fred Meyer, and so as I've been talking to voters in this process, a lot of people have been like, I know I saw that face. You've either seen me there, or probably looking very tired, or you've seen me running around Warrenton, probably also looking very tired. When I'm not doing things like this, I run half marathons and things like that. So. But I'm running. When I talked about my son earlier, I'm running because I want the best school system for him, and I want the best school system for your kids and for your grandkids. And so I think right now we have this opportunity when it comes to the school board for the board working in collaboration with the superintendent, with our staff, with our teachers, to cast a vision and a mission moving forward for a high expectation for student success. And then once that vision and mission is set forward, we can then be unleashed to go and pursue that together. Measuring things, evaluating things, seeing what we need to do financially with different programs in order to make those goals work. And the way that we do that is I think first of all, we've got to have a united board that works well together. And then from there, we're able to empower our administration, empower our staff, empower our teachers to do what they do best to bring about the success of our students. Thank you.
start with our questions. Matthew, why don't you start? Please share your budget priorities. How much time do you think it will take you to understand how our schools are funded and why we have balanced budgets?
Sure, yeah, it's a great question. I appreciate that, and that's something I've already been working on in this process. The day that I filed to run, I started working through board policy. I started doing research, watching videos, having conversations with people on how our schools are funded, how that money is where it's coming from, and then what we are doing with it. Now, I'm not here claiming by any stretch that I've got that all figured out quite yet. There's a lot of conversations and things that I still need to learn, but the effort is already there, and I've been excited to learn more about that so far. In terms of my priorities then with the budget, number one is supporting and resourcing our teachers. Making sure that they are supported, paid well, because this is an expensive place to live in a lot of ways. And then secondly would be addressing absenteeism within the district and helping students who are having a hard time getting to school, because statistics show that when we get them in the building with our amazing teachers, they learn.
Lindsay? Oh, sure. Please share your budget priorities. How much time do you think it will take you to understand how our schools are funded and why we have balanced budgets?
Okay, so I have sat through a few budget meetings, and I am actually very impressed by the money man. He does a good job. He does the best that he can with the dollars that we have. I also can't pretend like I have a full comprehension of the budget, so I would need some time to brush up on that, hopefully like some other people as well. It's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I would be more than happy to figure that out. I do think prioritizing teachers, aides, and anything that we could do to help the success of our students within the building, and I do believe that honestly starts with as much support and resources as we can offer our teachers and the aides. Thank you.
I'm going to try to remember what you said, the whole question. I think that the priority for the budget is to make sure that the teachers have the resources and the tools that they need to engage students, first and foremost. And then they're going to we definitely need to have additional staff or other avenues to provide them support in the classroom. I don't know how long it will take me to fully understand the budget. I do know budgets, just I haven't fully reviewed the schools. But one thing about me is I'm very good at asking a whole lot of questions to get clarity. So that would be my number one goal for myself, is to review it and make sure that the questions that I have get answered so I have a clear understanding of what's happening.
Okay, question 2. Would you like to start, Crystal? Sure. Okay. Diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and programs are widely discussed these days. What is your viewpoint regarding DEI policies and programs?
First and foremost, nobody should be treated different based on their skin color, whether they're neurodivergent, if they have learning disabilities of any sort. I think everybody should be treated equally. And I think that as a school, we could do better. I think that my idea to help our district in that is to create a committee that includes board members, teachers, administrators, and students to make sure that we are addressing those policies, and if we can make them better and within our district, we do so. I think that's all I have right now.
Lindsay?
resources there for you if you need them. No kid should walk through this door and feel that they are completely different than everyone else because they don't learn the same as them, they don't look the same as them. I genuinely think that the school could do a bit better about making sure the policies are enforced as far as some issues go with certain children, mine included. But beyond that, I think that everyone should be treated the same and all opportunities should be there for everyone, no matter what they look like or how they learn. Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind, could you repeat that question just as written? Sure, thank you.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and programs are widely discussed these days. What is your viewpoint regarding DEI policies and programs?
One thing that we know is that the world is not the way that it's supposed to be. So as much as we would like to be able to look at this and say, oh, everything's good, everyone's equal, that's how they're treated, we wouldn't need to even have this conversation. But the world is not the way that it's supposed to be. And so we need these policies, we need these emphases in order to make sure that everyone is indeed included, that everyone has the same opportunity, that everyone's given the opportunity that the person next to them is. And so I think we absolutely need to support those. We need to support those programs. We need to make sure that we're defending them so that everyone has an opportunity and a chance.
Matthew, would you like to start the next question? How would you build support to get the community to stay engaged in Warrenton schools after this election is over?
Yeah, I think what we've got to do with that is we've got to make sure that we're putting that mission and vision that we developed as a school out in front of people on a regular basis. So people need to know what are we working towards, and then they also need to know what they can do to help. And so I think that there's ways when it comes to engaging with our parents, with engaging with our older students, with engaging with our families, that we can put information out there that makes them be excited about the things that we're doing. I also think making sure that we are celebrating the successes of what's going on in our district is very, very important. Every single day, we have successes in our district, in all of our schools, with our teachers, with our students, with the things that they are learning. And so making sure that that's out there so that people can celebrate those things along with us and then work to get involved from there, I think are kind of the two keys with that. Thank you.
Lindsay?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
Sure. How would you build support to get the community to stay engaged in Warrenton schools after this election is over?
Yes. Well, as we know, anytime anything bad happens, everyone wants to tell a million people, I can't believe this happened, I can't believe this happened, and with social media, that just blows everything out of the water significantly. I think that it would be worthwhile to actually be vocal about the positive things that happen within the district. You know, whether it's a promotion or a student graduation or whatever it is, we kind of need to filter out the bad with a lot more good. As someone mentioned earlier, there are a lot of great educators within the district, and I think it would be better to hear more about the positive things that happen versus all of the social media drama that we hear that kind of takes away from all of the good that truly does happen within the district.
I agree with both of the other candidates when it comes to instead of looking at social media as the enemy, use it for positive and good. It's a powerful tool to create engagement. As a business owner, I do it. There's campaigns that you can, create to stir engagement for the school districts. It's about getting out there and inviting the community to come in and do those celebrations with the students and teachers and staff. I think that bringing in local businesses to provide fun things for the school will also create engagement, but really it's about educating and informing your community about what's going on so that they can be equally as excited as you are for your students.
Okay, Lindsay, why don't you start this time? As a school board member, how would you answer a direct concern from a parent?
Well, it is my understanding that the school board kind of moves as a unit. So I wouldn't want to necessarily flat out answer a parent directly without making sure that I'm following all of the bylaws that are in place and communicating with everybody else that is on the board with me. As I am very familiar with that policy because I have had some complaints and I have respected all of the board members and they did handle things how they were supposed to. So I do have a good understanding on how to respond or not respond at the current second to a parent or to a complaint.
Yeah, I echo a lot of that in the sense that we have a complaint policy, we have procedures for how to do this, and we obviously never want to end up in a situation where, as a board, suddenly there's been 6 different conversations and everybody said 6 different things, and then you have a huge mess on your hands. So I agree with that, and my goal in addressing that would be to follow policy and follow our best practices so that we can handle that complaint or comment or whatever it might be in a way that best meets the comment for the needs of the whole district and for that student. That said, in having those conversations, I think that we always need to remember that we're to be marked by kindness, to be marked by empathy, and as we move through that process to listen well and remember the kindness and empathy that we need to treat people around us. Thank you.
I think when addressing a parent that has an issue, first and foremost, we need to listen to understand and not listen to respond. I think it's important to ask questions for clarity and want to get that information, be able to bring it to the other members of the board, to have a discussion amongst ourselves to find the best practice within our policies and procedures to make sure that that parent is addressed in a timely manner. I think that, you know, when it comes to communication, to be very open and honest with what the procedures are so that they are aware of the timeline when it comes to a solution. Educating the parent is going to be key so that they don't have any misunderstandings.
Crystal, would you like to start with the next question? Okay. In Oregon, approximately 15% of public school students are served under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. What are your ideas regarding how we will grapple with the expense of these services?
Well, I don't have a clear answer for that because before I would have to do some research on it to be really confident in my answer, but I would do my best to educate myself, find out what our district is most in need of, and do my best along with my other board members to find the best solution in that matter. I'm sorry, it's not something that that I'm educated on. So that's as good as I can get.
In Oregon, approximately 15% of public school students are served under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. What are your ideas regarding how we will grapple with the expense of these services?
Also, like Crystal, not 100% sure on all of the facts behind that to give like an informed answer as far as that goes. However, they're children. We would, if they're within our district, we would have to do what we would have to do to figure it out. I mean, if it takes reaching to the community or whatever it is. But not everybody has the opportunity to go to a different district. And if this is the school that they are due to come to, then I feel like we would kind of have to figure out how to make the accommodations some way, somehow. And as from my knowledge that I have, which is very little, that is probably the best answer that I could give. They are children and they still deserve an education within our public school district.
I'm very much on the same page with what's been shared. There's a lot on this subject that I need to ask questions about and research from here and kind of broaden my understanding on this subject. But I would agree with both of what Lindsay and Crystal have said. We have to make sure that we're approaching it and then approaching our financial consideration on this again, with kindness and with empathy and with love and care for the student and for the family.
All right, Matthew, would you like to start on this question? How should conflict on the school board be handled, and how will you promote open communications between teachers, administration, and communication between teachers? Let me try that again, sorry. How should conflict on the school board be handled, and how will you promote open communication between teachers and administration?
Yeah, I think Neil addressed some of this earlier with his group in the sense that part of the way that we solve the conflict on the board is that there's 7 of us, and so there can be discussion, there can be some conflict, and that can actually be healthy. When it comes though to talking through our teachers and administration, I think one of the things that we need to make sure that we're doing well is creating multiple angles of where we can get feedback from our teachers, where we can actually collect data on what's going on in the classroom, how they're feeling, how things are going, and then we can actually then use that to push forward the vision and goals and mission. And so when doing that, the board then really functions, I think, in a really healthy way, not to try to leap over administration, but to make sure that every single voice is heard and that we can all work together. A big part of that is reminding ourselves regularly that we are working for the students, the success of the students, and keeping that vision and mission straight before us. Thank you.
Lindsay?
I also feel friendly debates are good, especially within the board. Not everybody's going to agree on everything, but as long as you're respectful, I feel like that should be okay. Bickering constantly obviously isn't going to get anybody anywhere, but if you're making, some headway and not agreeing, but ultimately it ends with a vote. So I do believe that the school board and the teachers should have some form of open communication, whether they meet quarterly or whatever it is. And again, not to jump, skip the ladder, but I think it would be nice for them to know what their challenges are or what is working for them within their classrooms, or just overall hearing their needs or concerns. And then they can bring it to the superintendent or the principal or whatever it is that's the info that they gathered from the teachers.
I am an advocate for conflict. I think it's healthy. I think you can have conflict and be respectful of one another. I think that that's how big decisions are made and good solutions come out of conflict. I believe in the power of vote. I believe in understanding perspective from all angles if you can. That's how you come up with good solutions. So in that matter, I think that having a bit of conflict on the board is really healthy. If everybody all agreed on every single subject, we wouldn't be making any progress. when it comes to communication, I think everybody needs to be accessible. There needs to be a lot of avenues to be able to get concerns to the board. And then as a board, we can work through those to make sure that they're getting to the proper avenues. But really accessibility and listening to understand to get to the good solutions.
Okay, this is the last question. Crystal, would you like to start? When there is not enough money, would you look to cut after-school sports and programs before reducing classroom funds?
Can I give a different alternative? Because first of all, I don't ever want to cut from the necessities. Education comes first. But I also know that sports and after-school activities drive children to do well in school. So my third option would be reach out, create community engagement, and raise funds so that we can provide both to our students.
I also agree. My children play sports, and they're going to play sports for the rest of probably their school career. But in my household, you only play sports if you're doing well in school. So you can't quite take away from both of them, but if we were going to cut from sports, I would probably donate some money myself just to make sure that these kids still get it. I mean, you have to keep programs in place that keep people excited, or kids excited to show up every day, and especially as they get older, their GPA means that they can or cannot play sports. So I find that we probably couldn't cut from both, or I would have to figure out a way to help this say something.
I also agree on that. I think, obviously, when we think about school and education, we see that at the forefront. At the same time, though, I think the impact of cutting things related to after school or sports, I think we would see things like absenteeism just skyrocket at that point. Because, as it's been mentioned, it is athletics, and not only just athletics. It can be something like chess club or Pokemon club or art club. Those are often things that really draw students in, and then it helps them connect better in the classroom. So I think it's a difficult question. Obviously, we want to have education be the key there, but it really also doesn't make sense to say, all right, we're just going to cut a bunch of things related to after-school programs and athletics. Those are also a lot of those things that help students stay out of trouble after school hours. It engages them, it gives them skills, it gives them things that they're going to be able to follow and do for the rest of their lives in some cases. Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank our candidates very much for coming tonight, and want to thank our audience also. Thanks to everybody for your participation tonight. Yeah.
You just listened to a recording of a May 1st Candidates Forum hosted by the Astoria branch of the American Association of University Women. KMUN staff recorded this forum and have made it available to the public. To see more of what KMUN has to offer and for more information about upcoming elections in Oregon, visit kmun.org. You can find local news stories at kmun.org/news. And of course, you can hear us on the air. Tune in to KMUN 91.9 FM, Astoria, your community radio station.